They're like, okay, so press that animation button and give us the graphics. And it's like, it doesn't work like that.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jesse Nyberg Podcast. We're here with Emonee LaRussa, super talented motion designer and NFT artist from, where are you from?
Sacramento, California.
Sacramento. Okay, cool. How you doing today?
Good. I mean, besides me not getting a lot of sleep last night, I think I'm good. Finishing up a lot of projects, so kind of like, ugh.
Okay, so you're just wrapping stuff up right now this week, pretty much?
Yeah, I had to wrap up 3 projects. I don't know if I'm allowed to say. When will this be released?
I believe in 3 weeks, probably 2 to 3 weeks from
perfect. I did another interview a few weeks ago with the NFT girl, and we had to make a piece on the spot. We got 10 minutes to basically come up with an idea, and she gave us 2 weeks to actually full-fledged finish the piece. So I got all 3 of those done, and then lots of meetings and everything. So just sleepy girl.
That's always super stressful when you're doing some kind of talk or meeting, but you also have to be doing a task, coming up with an idea, or how Adobe, they'll be designing while they talk. And I feel it's already hard enough to answer questions just sitting there,
For me, I feel the creative process is the hardest process. So even though it may be 3 small projects, that's 3 different ideas I have to come up with. I'd much rather have a 1 week long project than 3 little small projects in a week, because I feel when I'm coming up with ideas, it's very much I have to be 100% focused in that. And it's so much easier to just edit. It's I put some music on, or I'll put a podcast on, and I'm just I know exactly what I need to do because I built the foundation and all the blueprints to make it as easy as possible. But it's the making those blueprints that I'm no music, nothing. No one interrupt me.
It's always nice when you're just in the production phase or whatever you want to call it, and you can actually listen to podcasts and stuff, because when I'm concepting anything that is outside of whatever I'm trying to do, I just get so distracted by it that I can't even handle having that kind of stuff around,
Oh yeah, 100%. I think there's a part in this book, I forget, it was the animation handbook. And they had a comic strip, and it was what music do you listen to when you're animating? And he's you listen to music when you animate? Yeah. What are you, fucking crazy?
Yeah. I'm always, the one thing that bothers me is that I haven't found out a system to edit video and listen to music at the same time. I really want to, because I have to listen to the audio, but then it's it gets boring after a few hours. So you want music, but you need to listen super closely.
It's a compromise. You have to be well, I guess I'm not listening to music while I'm editing this.
Yeah. I found too this weird kind of sensation of wearing headphones. Sometimes I'll put them on and I don't even play anything through them, and I don't realize that for a little bit, but just having them on makes me feel more concentrated or something.
I could see that, because it almost blocks noise from your ears. So I get that. I feel I do that sometimes, where I'll have my headphones in and I'll just turn the music off, and I'll still have my headphones in. And so I feel that it's a comfort thing. You know?
It's a weighted blanket, for concentration or something.
Yes. Weighted blanket for my ears. I think what's really cool about these big brands kind of getting into the NFT space is that it's kind of beneficial for everyone. They are getting into this niche group of people. They're a huge brand, but not only that, they are exposing this niche group of people to people that don't know about NFTs at all. And I think that's the whole idea of like cryptocurrency and NFTs, is that once it becomes a more like sustainable thing or a viable thing to where you can now purchase a burger with cryptocurrency, it becomes like more useful. People are going to want to use it. There'll be incentives like 20% off if you buy this with Ethereum or blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just a plus for everyone. So I feel super fortunate. Sometimes I'm like, how do these companies find me? Like, it's so weird sometimes. I'm like, yeah, no, I'll work on this project. But like, I've asked plenty of people, like, how did you find me? And they're like, oh, we just looked you up. And I'm like, okay.
It's funny because I've had the same experience, like not with anyone quite as, I guess, notoriety as like the Rolling Stones, but I've had some like semi-bigger people contact me, and I'm curious, like, what was the pipeline of them finding out who I was? And then, because like even 2 years ago, like I had to like really try to get a hold of people that weren't even big at all. Even that was difficult, you know? So it happened. So like, I guess the way your influence or whatever you want to call it on the internet is very like compounding. Like it slowly just gets easier and easier to get in contact with different people as like the network of people you know online grows.
Oh, 100%. Like when I think about all the projects that I've worked on, I specifically, when I wanted to run my own animation studio, I was like, I want to bring on like everyone. I want like people to look at our group of people and be like, wow, that's a diverse group of people. And so I would go out of my way to find like artists. And a lot of times we're just like small little artists that had like 2,000 followers. And I'd hit them up and I'd be like, hey, do you want to work on this Kanye video? And they're like, how did you find me? And it's just through like hashtags. Like I had just like looked through Instagram, and I was like, I looked through hundreds, if not thousands of different posts, and just kind of like, there's so many artists that just don't have the followers, but like are so talented that I'm like, if we're not going out of our way to find them, then we're just going to keep recycling the same like artists that have all these followers that are overextending themselves on projects that like, it's just, I feel like is overwhelming for a lot of them. And you could just reach down, lift somebody up, and now they have that on their portfolio, and now they could have bigger jobs. And I win 100% out of it because I get to bring somebody on, and like they are amazing, talented people. So it's interesting.
That's cool. I was talking yesterday with this guy named Aaron. It's like Aaron F Design. He does like collage, and
homie.
Like he was like shouting you out. He was like, because I was asking him something about like when he first started working with like some of the people that he used to just create like whatever you want to call it, like fan art for or whatever, right? Yeah. And then he said like you brought him onto this project for like a music video or something like that. So there's a proof right there that you actually do that, not just saying it.
No, he's such an like amazing person. And I think what is kind of awesome is when you start reaching out to all these people, how many of those people are like long-term like friends? Like I don't think you really kind of expect that going in. It's like, hey, I have a project, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's this one artist, her name is Chair. And I was like, hey, you think we could meet for this project? And she's like, yeah, for sure. We talked about the project for like 10 minutes. And then for the next 2 hours, just talked about the most random things and just like, oh my God, I know, right? Blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, you know, you never expect those type of relationships to happen when you're just hitting somebody up for work. But it feels super organic. It feels like this is meant to be. Like, this is awesome. So,
I found that too, like a similar feeling, even with doing this, like some of the people that I reach out to and get on the podcast and things, it's crazy how quickly, I've spoke about this before, it goes from like, oh my gosh, like I really look up to you, like this is cool, to like the next week, like now we're friends and we just talk all the time. Like you become peers like so quickly, even just after something like this, because most of the time you're not doing something like this. It's just like messages that don't have a lot of like, I guess, feeling behind them or whatever. But even talking to someone, not in person, but like this is 10 times more powerful than like a DM or whatever it may be.
Oh yeah. I feel like I could appreciate a more in-person thing than a DM, because to be real, like I have like really gnarly dyslexia. Like I've always had it. And I also like grew up with like a speech impediment. So like reading and writing has always been extremely difficult for me. So now I'm in a career where I have to answer emails and I have to answer DMs, and it just gets so overwhelming because it's not like effortlessly where I'm just like, oh, I'll just answer this real quick. Like there's so many times where I read shit wrong and like I just don't get it right, and like words are scrambled and I'm like, I'm so confused. And so a lot of times I will just avoid answering messages and emails, and it's hard trying to find that balance because being dyslexic is something that I've carried my entire life, but being a motion graphics artist is something that is like past 8 years of my life. So like trying to find the equal balance is like, it's difficult for sure.
Yeah. And you don't want to always be like telling everyone like, oh, I couldn't do it because of that. Like you want to be able to like get over the things that are like complicated. Have you ever had an issue with that, like in a project where you like spelled anything wrong on like something important?
Oh,
or anything like that?
Yes. I was doing lyric videos for such a long time.
Oh yeah, that's the most words possible.
That is like literally like I had a system of where I would double, triple check a word. And then when I was done with everything, I would send it to 3 people so that they could revise it. Good. But there would be times where it's like super fast deadline. We just got to get it done. And I couldn't send it over to them. And I'd messed up on a project that I was so devastated about, because when you're looking at the word like nonstop, even though it's wrong, it doesn't hit your eye wrong. And so I put it out there and they posted it. And people were like, that word spelled wrong. And I was like, oh my, I felt so sick. I'm like, you're doing lyric videos. Like, how do you get this wrong? Like, there's been times where I did a college essay, my final for my sound design. And it was supposed to be on speakers. And he's like, okay, here's the project. It's going to be on speakers. You guys have to pick like 5 different speakers, basically write everything about them, blah, blah, blah. And every time he was saying speakers, I thought he was saying microphones. And so it was like speakers went through my ear and came out as microphones. And I was like, yeah, so we're supposed to do it on speakers, right? And I'm saying speakers, but I'm thinking microphones. And so I do this whole essay. Like I was like killing it. Like I was like in it. I was looking at all these different microphones and I submit it. And he's like, this is incorrect. Like this is about microphones. And I was like, yeah, what do you mean? And he's like, it's supposed to be about speakers. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, I'm going to grade this like to like how well this is written. But like, how did you mess that up? I was like, for 2 weeks, I was thinking, so it gets gnarly sometimes.
That's funny. And then right when he said it the last time, though, I'm sure you understood like, oh,
it microphones. I've never made the mistake again.
That's like, I remember seeing this, I think a YouTube video where it was like a Zoom call and they were like, they all had to do a project like Powerful Women in DC. And it was like, you know, like Congress and shit. And the guy comes and does his whole project on like Wonder Woman, you know, and then like the teacher just lets him do the whole thing. And then they're like, oh no, it's like Washington DC. And then he just like leaves the Zoom call. I was like, oh man, like that'd be so embarrassing.
Great. I know. It's so bad. Hey, it's like, I can't control it, you know? And there's nothing you could do. Like, there's literally, that's like one thing that's like, you can't just like with working out, like you could try to work out harder. You could try doing this, but like you can't do anything to like make that better. So it's just like managing it basically.
Mm-hmm. Did you, what was I going to say? I feel like the programs too, like Adobe and a lot of different editing programs and whatever, even like Illustrator, like they don't have that good of like error like spelling system either. Like it's not very obvious that something's spelled wrong compared to like Microsoft Word or something. So
and
I don't know. I feel like they should fix that.
They have the technology to do it. Like Illustrator, you could spell check. And I'm like, why can't you spell check in After Effects? Like that makes no sense. Like why if you know you're going to have a text box, just throw it in there. Like you already have it. Like
it should be a common thing for any, like, I think the only one I know of that does it very well is like InDesign. You can just check through the whole, like, it'll be like something on top, like check spelling, and it'll just go to each word that's wrong and you can replace it.
That's what Illustrator. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you would think they'd have it in everything. And what's kind of a shitty thing too is if you're doing motion or something that causes the type to go to like an object or some kind of like non-editable thing. Once you already spelled it wrong, then like it's hard to go back and change it at that point.
When you change it to a text layer to a shape layer, and then it's like, oh no, those are the letters forever.
Yeah. What kind of got you originally into doing like motion design and things? Can you give me a little bit of background on that?
Yeah. So when I was younger, I really liked making music videos, and like we would just go around the house and shoot some. Like I remember like Fergalicious, it was just me dancing. Yeah. Like it was just, and I had like huge boobs. Like I totally like stuffed my bra and stuff. And I was so hyped. And then we did like 50 Cent Candy Shop. And as I was getting older, I got like a camera to shoot, and I was like, what if we do this type of story? And we would just make short films around the house. Yeah. And then when I got into high school, I took like 2 film classes my junior and senior year. And that kind of really pushed this whole thing of like, I could do this like for college. But it wasn't until I saw Mike Diva and Andrew Kramer and Final Cut King that I was like, oh, like I could do this for a living. Like I could like these type of videos is stuff that I want to make, like not just like commercials or like TV or film. Like I could just make these crazy, stupid videos and get paid for it. And so it kind of like, I was like, okay, I want to go to film school. And I decided to go to the Art Institute of Sacramento because moving to LA just didn't seem realistic to me, just because I was 17 when I moved out. And I had this dream of like moving and all this stuff. And I was like, Sacramento seems like the most realistic. Like, I don't want to like be so stuck in this dream that I kind of lose foresight of reality. And so I moved to Sacramento and started going to film school there. And it's actually pretty interesting. So while I was there, I mean, I'm a very feminine girl. Like I would get my nails done. I wear dresses all the time. And being like one of fucking 20, 30 people in the class that is a female, I didn't really get the same type of respect that other people were getting. And it didn't actually hit me that it was like, oh, it's because you're a girl, until someone actually said that. Like, I just thought that people thought that maybe I was just weird. But I gave no one a reason to not respect me. Like, I was going above and beyond on every single one of my projects. Like, I was the only person who was getting like straight A's. I got like 120 in my cinematography classes. Like, I was the only person who had a cinematography job, because at the time I wanted to be a cinematographer more than a motion graphics artist. Like, motion graphics was just something that was like the cherry on top to my cinematography. And I would never get asked to be on set. And there was a few times where I try to like prove myself on set, and I had someone, like, I wore a dress, but it was a super like loose dress. I had shorts on underneath. It wasn't like inappropriate, but it's just a piece of fabric. There's another dude who was wearing shorts, and it wasn't a big deal, but someone was like spreading the word around that like I shouldn't be on set, like I'm super inappropriate and all these things. And I'm like, but I did my job. Like, I showed up on time. I did exactly what I needed to do. Why is a piece of fabric going to determine whether you should have me on your set or not? And it just started becoming like a reality for me, was that as a cinematographer, I need people on my set. Like, I need people on my crew. I need a gaffer. I need an AD. Like, I need an AC. Like, all these different crew members I couldn't have because no one wanted to work with me. So it wasn't until this one guy, I was so fed up because I felt like I was trying to be super nice to everyone. Like, hey, good morning. How are you? Hope you're doing great. You know? And there's this one guy that would constantly talk about how shitty of an artist I was. And I went up to him and I was like, dude, why do you hate me so much? Like, and keep in mind, we had just went for the same exact awards at like the school award show, and every category that he submitted in, I won for. And so he was like, I just think that you're not really that good, and that the teachers are just showing you favoritism because you're a girl. And I was like, like, it couldn't possibly be that I work hard. Like, it couldn't possibly be that like I'm knowledgeable or I'm experienced. It had to be because I'm a girl. Like, his ego wouldn't allow him to see anything past that. And so I was just like, you know what? I think using my cinematography eye, I could focus on motion graphics, because you don't see the person behind the computer screen. Like, you don't know who that is. And like, I don't need anybody to do this job. I could do this all by myself. And so I started just pursuing that and making music videos, like making lyric videos through like After Effects. Like, I'd made like a Childish Gambino lyric video when I was in college in 2013. And I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is more fun, because I put in all the work and no one could say anything. Like, no one even knew who I was. So it was just like, okay, this is what I'm liking, you know? And it never took that like drive away from me to be a cinematographer, because in a way I feel like I'm still using what I loved about cinematography, which was composition and framing, for After Effects. And so it just kind of has spiraled from there. And now like I'm making music visuals for artists that I would have never imagined I'd been able to. And a big part of that was just like putting myself out there. And I have to give a huge shout out to the band The Internet, because they gave me an opportunity just because they saw my work on Twitter. And like, I felt like that was the first time that I was like, oh, I could like do this, like for real. Like, I could do this. And so that was kind of how it's all transpired.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good origin story. I like the story of the
that's my origin story.
I feel like the cinematography thing is definitely apparent in your work, that you have this sense of like composition and like an eye for just the overall scene and framing of things, which I feel like is probably the hardest part to learn just as like a designer or as like a graphics person, because you're not usually looking at it from like the way like a director would, you know? So I think it's obvious that you kind of have that background. And it's funny with the story with that guy, because the reason that they were mad about you winning this thing, that what they thought was the exact reason that you said you weren't getting any of the opportunities and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's so twisted, you know, to like what was actually going on.
No,
did you feel funny. Like that stuff that was happening made you kind of go in the reverse like way? Like, did you try to like not maybe be feminine or anything like that because it was no okay.
I just like, I feel like I've always just have been this way. And like, I just really like being like dressing the way that I want to dress. And to me, I don't view it as like inappropriate or anything, because it's literally exactly what everyone else has. Like, if not at least half the planet has. And like, I'm not like over sexualizing myself. Like, I am just wearing cloth on my body. And like, if you want to take it that way, like I've always said, like, for someone to insult me and say that the worst thing about me is that I'm a slut or that I am hyper feminine and like I want attention, and like I think that if that's the worst possible thing that you could say about me, like I'd much rather, it would hurt me more if you said that I was a liar. It hurt me more if you said that like I flake on my friends or that I'm a shitty person. Like that shit would hit me hard. But like, I know that deep down, I am such a hard worker. I know that I'm such a good person and that I just want to help and love others. And if that's the worst possible thing you could say about me, bro, go ahead. Like yes, I'm all those things. Like call it. Like it just doesn't have that power that I think people who say it think that it has. Especially when I am as confident in my existence on this planet, because I think about like long term, like what does my existence bring to other people? And if that's what they can only look past, like if they can't look past that, then it's like, oh, then you don't get all the good parts of it. Like I like, you kind of don't deserve it. Like I don't want you in my life. And if you want to view me that way, then that's on you and you could continue living that way. But I will continue being hyper feminine and like doing what I do. And yeah, it's just kind of how it is.
Yeah. And people that, you know, kind of hate and look for some kind of excuse to belittle like people's accomplishments and things, like I feel like that's just kind of like a go-to one as like a female, because like they don't have any like good like insults or anything original to say, so they're just like, well, that must be that, you know, because like and it's usually from some kind of place of like they don't think that they're that good, you know, so like they're mad that like if someone's mad at you for doing something good or trying to take it away, that means that they're upset that they weren't able to do it. It's not that they actually think you're not good, because if they actually thought that, or if it was true, then you wouldn't have, you know, won or whatever. Like you wouldn't even be in that position.
Yeah. And it's just like, I've played Call of Duty for so long and I know what it's like being in the toxic lobbies and stuff. And so it's just the same rhetoric, like, oh, go make me a sandwich, go do this and blah, blah, blah. Like, but at the end of the day, I'm like, bro, who are you? Like when you get off, like you have to sit with yourself and know that like that's just how your life is, and I'm gonna continue living. And that's why like I cannot give a light to shitty people anymore. Like I just got like there's so many people on TikTok that pretend to be me and they'll repost my content. Really? They'll and
crazy.
I was getting so mad. Like I was like, these fucking losers keep taking my shit and they're trying to pretend to be me. And it's irritating because I don't know what they're saying to other people. I don't know if they're using my stuff for evil. Like, because I've had people pretend to be me and scam other people out for money. And so I was getting so mad, and I had posted about it on Twitter. And then I was just like, why am I giving light to them? Like, it doesn't give me like anything. Like, I get nothing out of that, and they get oh my God, she mentioned me. Like, because obviously they're following me on all my platforms. Like, that's how they're getting my content. And so I'm just kind of like, I don't want to do that anymore. It's like so much energy to be mad at some fucking loser, like, who's just trying to like get attention. Like, I can't, bro. If you want to do that,
that's the worst thing.
Yeah,
you gotta like, I haven't had anything that quite extreme in terms of like someone taking my like identity or whatever, but I've had people like troll and things, and it's like the worst thing you could do is like give them the like, I guess, attention or whatever of like being upset by it, because then it's like, oh, it works, you know. If you don't ever acknowledge it, they're probably thinking like, well, fuck, like they never even saw this, or like they don't care or whatever. So
and none of those trolls have ever like learned their lesson when they've gotten a heated response back, like, how dare you, blah blah blah. Like, they've never been like, oh my God, I need to look at the choices that I make in my life now. It's like, nah, bro, they don't give a shit. They just get stronger.
Like, it's like energy to them, you know? Like,
exactly.
Yeah, that's funny. Me. Have you I wanted to ask you a little bit too about the like, how is it designing the graphics for like the actual live performances and things, like for the show graphics and stuff? So concert graphics are fun, but they have, obviously, its cons to it. When a group is, or a singer is well managed, they plan ahead of time. And that's always great for everyone because you have more time on a project. I think that the majority of artists, musicians, are not. And I think it all is just like pipeline stuff. I think it starts from the very top of like record labels and then producers, and then it just kind of like funnels its way down to the artist, which is like the very bottom. And I think what's crazy about these like concert graphics is that if you don't work on a need it now pace, you're not going to make it. Like, or you will find one of the two gigs out there that give you lots of time beforehand. But most of the time it is just kind of like, we need it now. And I can't do that anymore. Like, it's just, it's too much. Like, and you would think that the bigger the artist, the more managed they are, but it's not true at all. Like, I feel like no one knows how shit works. And so when they like are ready to give the idea to the artist, they're like, okay, so press that animation button and give us the graphics. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. And so but if that's the like field that, you know, you could like thrive in, like, oh, I can throw shit out and I can fucking pop out ideas, then like, it's a super amazing gig. You get to sometimes meet the artists, you get to like work with them. And I like it for what it is. And I think I could take gigs every now and then, but it couldn't be an everyday thing. Like, I couldn't do concert graphics all the time. Like, that was the only thing I was doing, just because of how fast paced it is. Yeah, it seems like every kind of niche of like design and art and different like creative fields have a specific job that's like that. Like, the people like always say like, oh, this is a really cool thing, but it sucks a lot, or like it's really hard, or like the deadlines are bad. Like, same with like, I hear like a lot of people have had similar experiences honestly, it's kind of like the music industry revolves around a lot of the ones that are like badly managed and bad like deadlines, even with album art and stuff like that too.
Yeah. No, it is crazy for sure.
Yeah. How does it work? Because I've seen a few other people say this, and you have in your Instagram thing, it's like Emmy artist 2-time thing. Like, how does that work, that process, in terms of from like doing motion or animation?
Yeah, so I got both of my Emmys when I worked at CBS News, and there were 4 campaigns that I had worked on and did some graphics for. And basically, if you do anything for TV, you could win an award for it. And that's why if someone is like, oh, I want to win an Emmy, like that's a huge goal of mine. Getting your foot into any sort of TV is going to be super beneficial and put you on the path to do that. I just was fortunate enough to work at CBS, and I was thinking about this the other day. Like, they hired me on as a cinematographer and motion graphics artist, and I just am so grateful that they took a chance on me. Like, I am very skinny girl carrying around this 50-pound camera, and like, they did put a lot of trust in me, and I feel like they saw something in me. And I owe so much to them, because they definitely like went out of their way to like bring me on. And like, I actually didn't apply to the job.
Oh,
someone
really?
had recommended me because they were leaving, and they brought me on, and I came in, did an interview, and it was interesting too, because while I was working there, I was also going through like my party stage. And so I would go work like 8 hours a day there, and then I'd go straight to the club after and like party my ass off, and then wake up the next day and go back to work. And for like, they had to like put like a red flag in front of me and be like, you're fucking up. Like, don't think that like we won't take this job away from you. They didn't say it like that. They said it like super nice. But that's basically what they said. And it was a huge slap in the face of like, this is what I've been wanting. Why am I, fucking up? And I started like a whole like transition 180, like just taking my career more seriously. And once I started doing that, I fucking started winning Emmys. And so it's crazy how it's all kind of happened. But shout out to CBS in Sacramento. Love you guys.
It's interesting how the anything around film and TV works in like the design or like art field, because unlike other fields, they treat it similarly to like if you're the producer or director. Like when I worked at this agency that did like key art, so we would always do stuff for Netflix and HBO and whatnot, and there's just so many like awards and like weird little ceremonies and like things centered around like awards, and I feel like that doesn't really happen in a lot of other fields. Like they don't give you trophies for designing the best like branding like package or whatever. Like
actually, so in Sacramento there's the Webby Awards, and then there's there's like there's so many different types of awards, and I've kind of like, I put that I'm 2-time Emmy Award winning as a like reel in. But to be real, like I feel like my Emmys are not the most like things that I'm most proud of that I've done in my career. It's
just like notoriety kind of.
100%. And so I feel like if you're looking at these awards as like, oh my God, I need to have these, or I'm not like validated as an artist, it's not true at all. Like most of these award like judges are like 6-year-old white men that like literally only just like shit that they've been liking for the past 60 years of their life. Like it's not any validation to you as an artist at all. They're cool, they're great, they're fun, but in terms of like, I need this to be like successful or I need this to know that I'm a good artist. You don't. You really don't.
Right. What projects then would you say most proud of that you've done? Either one or a few?
So I really loved the project that I did with Matt Voice. I did a collab with him.
Yeah, he's dope.
He's amazing. And I've loved his work for years. And because of like the NFT space, like we were already following each other before that, but like it wasn't like we were cool. Like it wasn't like, oh, hey, I can just hit you up or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he was asking questions about the NFT space, and I was like, yeah, you know, if you ever want to like collab on something, like I'm here. And he was like, I would love that. And I was like, oh my God, really? And he made my life so easy with just like creating all the illustrations for it. And he's such an amazing designer. Like he's one of the most talented designers I feel like out there. And he just went above and beyond for the project, which made my life of animating so much easier. And he's just a great person. Like he's just such a nice person. So I would definitely
he's
say
really
that.
cool. I had him on the podcast like earlier in like maybe, I don't know, 4 months ago or something.
Isn't he the best?
Yeah, he's chill. What was the project, the final outcome between you two? I never even saw that one.
Oh yeah. I forget what was the name of it. Come with me. We sold it on Foundation, and I was just so happy with the way that it came out. And because we sold that piece, NFT Girl ended up buying that piece from us, and now me and NFT Girl are like best friends. Like I love her so much, which is an interesting like dynamic too when you have a collector and an artist. And I feel like a lot of times it could seem ungenuine because you have someone with a whole bunch of money and you don't want to come off as like, I just want your money. But like me and her like connected on such a high level that I was like, oh my God, like I want to hang out with you all the time. So that was a fun project.
It's really cool. I'm looking at it right now. It's like,
it's
kind of distracting. I keep looking over there. It's like
it's
real
mesmerizing.
Yeah.
And then I felt like the Finding Inner Peace, the most recent one that I did, I had spent like 2 weeks on it. And I was in such a, that piece was kind of like the signifier of like, I could take my time because by making that piece, I kind of was like, I'm not going to take client work. I'm not going to do any client work for the rest of the year. And so I took 2 weeks and I sat on it and I like worked on it, and it felt so good. And like when I was done with it, I was like, this is what it's like to work on a project. And like I just put all of my time and energy into it, and this is the outcome. And I absolutely love the way that piece came out.
I saw the YouTube video. I was watching that the other day. That was really cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
It seemed like a lot of people liked it too. And there's, I like the way you did the, because obviously if you're working on that in isolation and kind of like a 2 week thing, you're not going to like create the video like as you do it, and as much as like a tutorial. But I like the way you broke it down kind of as like deconstructing it, I guess you could say.
Thank you. I was super surprised with how many people really liked the whole breakdown of that. Like I was like, oh my God, I'll do more of these. And I feel like it's just not just with like that art piece, but like with just the space in general. There's so many things that I feel like, how am I supposed to know if I like don't know this information? Like the getting into the music industry, and like how to create a treatment, and like what should these executives be expecting out of me, like when they ask me to do music videos, stuff like that. Like I just remember like wanting to do that, like being reached out, like, hey, can you make a music video for us? And can you get us a treatment? And I'm like, first off, I don't know what a treatment is. Don't know how to make it. And like, there was such little information on it, especially for animation. Like that was just, I don't think I found anything. I think the closest thing was like a treatment for like a normal, like shot video. So
I did treatments like this year. I started getting hired by like some directors to do the layout of the treatment. Like obviously I'm not writing the tone or whatever, like in the shot list and things, but I never even knew that was like a thing that went down in the process of like, because a lot of these are commercials. So they'll come to me, you know, this guy, his name's Daniel, who say, oh, we have a treatment for GMC or whatever, right? Here's the vibe, like gives me the Word doc, which is a bunch of bullshit and like a bunch of images. And then I design like basically, you know, if for anyone that doesn't know, a treatment's kind of almost like a glorified like presentation or something, or some kind of mood board. And I feel like what's interesting about that like Hollywood space is the amount of design that goes into that stuff to like the money is actually like a really good ratio. Like it usually only takes me, you know, 1 or 2 work days to lay out the treatment for them, and then they pay like super well. But then also it's like you said with the concert, it's like, all right, can you do this tomorrow and then give it to us? And it's like they never give you any time ahead, but I usually do it because it's
Are you saying that you got paid to make the treatment?
Yeah.
In like, I don't know if like this is just a music industry thing, but like you just don't get paid for treatments. Like that's just been my experience, is like I've made so many treatments and I've gotten paid for probably a third of them. Like,
wow. And are you the one doing that's going to execute on the treatment? Like, is it for your project? Maybe that's why, because I'm getting paid for like the person that's pitching the project probably isn't getting paid to submit this treatment, but they were just paying me to design the treatment for them to submit it.
Yeah.
Because these are like big commercial projects where the director is probably going to get like a, you know, multi-$1,000 day rate, you know, like I'm sure they don't mind giving me this day rate for the treatment when they're going to do this project for like $40K a day or whatever for like Apple or something, you know.
I got to a point where I was like, I need to get paid. Like there should be a fee like for me to make all this stuff. And it's crazy.
It's like not getting paid to do the, you know, 20% of the work or whatever, like the concept side of things.
And that's what I feel like is so ass backwards about that, is that they try to rush you for a treatment, and like the treatment is the blueprint of this whole piece. And so it's like, if you rush that, the whole piece is like gonna be garbage. Let me sit on this, let me conceptualize, pay me for it. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird because they're like, well, we may not like it. And I'm like, oh, well, what if you do like it?
Yeah. I feel like it's gotten better as I've talked with other people, and things are gradually getting better in the terms of the way people are treated. But it's definitely like far from being ideal, the relationship between like a creative and the hiring party.
Yeah, no, for sure.
What kind of got you wanting to explore and get interested in like this NFT space in general? Like you've obviously done well for yourself, and I've known tons of people who have gone as far as like they're kind of just set up like their whole life from this and then on the other side, like it's just not working for them, you know? So what made you want to get into this, and what do you think was the main, I guess, like catalyst behind your success with it?
I mean, obviously what drew me in was you could make your own work, your passion projects, and get paid for it. Like before, I was just making passion projects and posted it on YouTube or posted it on Instagram for likes. Like that was the extent that I had. But what was sad about that was that because I wasn't making money on it, I wasn't spending a lot of time on it. So I would just do it in between client projects. And that's kind of one thing that I've learned is that like projects that you overextend yourself on suffer greatly. And so that's kind of like why I love the last piece, the finding inner peace, was because there wasn't this rush to like get it done. It was like when I got it done, I got it done. And the idea of that just seemed amazing. But I was still very weary about it. So I was still doing client projects in between. So I think in total last year, I spent like 27 days on NFTs, which is not a lot at all, considering I spend the rest of my time on client work. And I had made more than half, or I think about half the income that I did on NFTs in those 27 days than I did on the client project. So I was like, that's interesting. And so, it's been interesting because when you're going into this space, it's relatively new. There's obviously people who've been in it for a few years now, like the OGs, but like for the most of us, it's like pretty new. So there's not a lot of information out there on like how to be successful in this. It's all just kind of like fill in the water. Like, what does this feel like over here? Should I be talking to these people? Should I not be working with this platform? And I think the biggest thing that I've learned in this space is that as easy as it is to constantly see people's success and feel FOMO from it, trying to rush this is going to be the worst thing that you could do. Like whether it's rushing your project and just trying to get something out there, or rushing your investment of spending your time in the space. It just, if you are on the train with us and we all believe that this shit's going to last for a long time, then just sit on the train, enjoy the ride, like experience like the space before you even think about dropping something. And I think to your point about like, there's a lot of people who've been super successful and there's a lot of people who haven't. And I genuinely have seen super talented artists not sell at all, or sell for very little. And they thought like, what? I have like this many followers. I'd make this type of art. I should be fucking making hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it's kind of like this community that has been built on faith and trust, that like we feel in this together. And so when someone tries to come in and they haven't spent time with us and they haven't like put the effort in to be someone that is going to be a useful person in the space, they just are like, oh, buy my piece. It's kind of like if you go to a bar and like someone comes up to you and is like, hey, can you buy me a drink? It's like, I mean, like, and for now on, you're going to know that person as that's that fucking dude that just asked me to buy them a drink. And how much better would it be if that guy got to get to know you and was like super cool and you were like, hey, bro, let me buy you a drink. And like that type of community, like not expecting to have like everyone in the fucking bar buy you a drink, but if you could make one or two relationships to where maybe you buy them a drink next time and blah, blah, blah. It's just that community that I feel like when people get in the space and they're like, oh, I'm gonna sell. It's like people can smell that. Like people know when people are just in for like fake shit. And so if you expect to get in and that's gonna like, you're just gonna kill the game, like I'm sorry, but like more than not, that doesn't happen. And it's interesting though. It's interesting the way that like it's mainly centered around community. And I see a lot of people complain because I'm not like,
I'm not involved in it at all. Like I'm probably, if anything, the person being like, yo, like buy me this. And then I dip out for like a while because I just feel don't have sometimes the bandwidth to interact with all these people and things. But
yeah,
I see people complain that say, why are people buying these like, you know, punks or whatever, or like this and that when there's this really cool artwork over here? And then I try to explain to people like most of these like collector people, like, yeah, they appreciate the art, but it's still an investment. So like if you're some person that's not involved in their world, them investing in you has less like likelihood to grow than investing in the people that are always constantly being involved in that world. So like the artwork is important, but it's kind of like going back to the old days where it mattered about like the name of the artist even more than what the actual piece was. It's like, oh, I have a Basquiat, you know, not this painting that looks like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. And I think what's so cool about like the NFT space and cryptocurrency is you have modern day people putting value in things and creating the value in that. So it's like, yeah, well, you may think that this piece should sell for more, but what we value this to be is different. And it's the same thing like when people go into traditional art houses and they're like, this just sold for $1 million. I could fucking make that in 2 days. It's like, then do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then do it. Like,
right. I feel like punks and like Bored Apes and all that are kind of like the modern day version of, you know, when people started doing like where it was just like a circle, you know, on like acrylic or whatever. Like, it's like maybe easy to create the artwork, but it's harder to build the like trust and community around it.
Yeah. Like all the devs behind it, all the people who, it wasn't like with the Bored Apes, it wasn't like they put it out there and then that's what like builds value on it. They built an entire community of like people who are willing to hold, like people who are willing to invest into themselves because they had the support system. They had like the customer service. They had like everything that makes a product a great product. And it's like, yeah, you may just see it as like a picture, but it's all of the background work that has gone into it. Cause there's so many fucking collectibles out there. Like if you throw an animal and an adjective together, there'll probably be a collectible for that. Yeah. And so it's just like, why are those successful and those aren't? There's so much shit that falls behind it. And you can't just like expect to hop in and do a quick crash grab and it's going to be easy, you know?
I remember I always regret too, like not buying some stuff like that because I was knowledgeable of the space, like when it was at the point where it seems absurd to consider the price it is now from then. But I definitely didn't have like, it was so foreign that I was like, I don't even know if this is going to be like anything. So I didn't because I was like fearful and then it's crazy. Like it's the same way with like, just cryptocurrency in general or like stocks. Like every time you see it, you're like, damn, I wish I did that. And then it just goes more. It goes more and like the floor, the support gets higher and higher. And you're like, Jesus Christ. Like there's still people saying, you know, I wish I bought Amazon or whatever. And it's like, that's still Bitcoin. A thing you can buy. Yeah. Or Bitcoin. Yeah. It's just cause it's high. The price of something's all relevant, you know, like
totally.
You know, 50,000 or whatever could be a low point for Bitcoin at a certain point, you know, and then everyone would say, I wish I bought it in 2021 or whatever it may be.
That's kind of what I love about this space is the unpredictability. And like, you really don't know if you could post a piece and it gets no sales or if it could change your life. And I think that's kind of the risk that a lot of artists, including myself, is willing to take because I know my worth and I know my value. And I know that if I could show that other people would want to invest in me. Yeah. And yeah, it's cool. I love it.
What would you say? Cause the one criticism I see about this space a lot is the fact that everyone involved in it doesn't have anything bad to say about it. You know, like sometimes people have said it's like can be, I guess, culty for lack of a better word. What would you say is something maybe that could be improved in that space?
Obviously, like the diversity for sure. Like I see so many like huge events that like these huge artists that you've seen 100 times this year are gonna run the same shit. And it's like, I don't understand why these companies are not going out of their way to find other amazing artists. Like it just doesn't make sense that we have so many talented artists that have so much potential. And the argument is always like, oh, well, we want to have the most famous people on there. And it's like, how do you make other people famous if you're just showing the same famous people that you've been showing? Like, I feel like, and that's kind of my idea with my nonprofit, Jumpstart Designers, is that being able to bring in a demographic of people that has a less likely chance of being able to be a part of this group strictly because of accessibility. Like, I wholeheartedly believe that we could change the future of digital art if we started bringing in more people in an early age. Like, when you think about all of these huge artists that are doing the same like top lining, main headliner shit for events, they all started when they were 13. They all started when they were 12. They all started when they were young. And it's this idea of like, okay, well, all of them are like older white men. And we're not seeing the people of color in this space. And then we wonder, where is the correlation? Where is the origin of that? Why are we not seeing as many people of color in this space? And I think a big part of that is digital art is expensive. Like, just to get into the fields, to have Adobe subscription, to have a computer, heaven forbid you have a computer that breaks down. Like, it's just all these different things that require money. Like, this whole idea of like, if you're a kid, you could dream it and you could be it. And it's like, well, not necessarily. Like, not if I don't have the money to. And so I feel like the change that needs to happen is us going out of our way to make that change, to make our space look like what it looks like out in the real world. If you have like an event and all of them, and I've been to NFT events and I am literally like, it's us, all the Black people are in the corner. And like, we're just all hanging out and there's like 3 or 4 of us. And like, that's so shitty. Like, I want to be able to walk out and not just see a crowd of like older white men. Like, it's uncomfortable, but it's also like, why don't you white men want to have hella girls here? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why don't you want to have more people of color in here? Like, I feel like it's a win-win for everyone. And like, I don't know. To me, it's just like, we have to be going out of our way every day. Like, you could find an artist, you could find an amazing, super talented artist to show at your art event. You know, they exist out there. It's just going out of our way to do that. So that's something that is important that I think should change about the space.
That's good. I feel like that's a valid concern, and I've seen a lot of people speak to that. And it even goes back before like digital and like crypto art and stuff. Like, if I just think about my favorite designers as I was learning design, like, they're all just like old white guys, and like, they're super talented, but like,
totally,
obviously they were the ones that were able to like succeed in the old world like career path. So like, I'm sure there's designers that from all different cultures that are better or just as talented as them that I don't even have any idea who they are because of, you know, problems greater than I can explain in like 30 seconds, you know?
No, it's, I remember we did like a statistic for Jumpstart because we just wanted to post some statistics out there to kind of further our point. And the majority of the graphic design studios in America required a bachelor's degree. And so to even get your foot in the door, you have to be able to go to a a school. You have to be able to afford to go to school to get a bachelor's degree. And when you look at the majority of people who have bachelor's degrees in comparison to others, it's just like, so we're not even allowing people in. And the reason why I fight against that so much is because you should not have to get a fucking degree for art. As much as there's free knowledge out there, like on YouTube and stuff, and courses and master classes, it is a scam that you have to go to art school. Like, it has been something that has been taught for how many years? And I guarantee you, these art schools aren't teaching you anything new that isn't taught online on these courses. 100%. And so it's just the fact that we're only allowing people with bachelor's degree. And it's like, well, sucks for everyone else who hasn't gone to like a fucking higher education school because maybe they can't afford it. Maybe they don't have it in their cards. And it's just like, we're all suspicious.
I know. I've learned most of what I know like online, even though I went to school. It's probably like 10% of my knowledge. And back to what you're saying about the statistics, when I was working at this architecture office, still design, but obviously a different kind of niche, but they did this, we had to create this infographic that was about sustainability and diversity and all these things that the studio is doing. And they had this thing, it was like 2% African-American and like 5% POC or whatever for our thing. And they were like, this is good. Like, let's put this on our thing. Cause like that was a good percentage. That's how bad like it was in relation to all the other studios. They were like proud of 5%. I was like, this doesn't look good in an infographic. It's like this much of a circle. Like, why
They're
is
like,
this
no,
something
it's like 4% more than normal people.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like to even like look at it that way.
Yeah.
I wanted you to be able to talk a little bit more about that, the Jumpstart thing. What kind of made you want to start that, and what are you currently doing with it right now? If you can explain it a little bit.
I love digital art. I love motion graphics, animation. And so when I was getting into it in high school, I was taking those film classes, and it kind of sucked because I could work on it while I was at school, but I couldn't work on it when I got home because I didn't have a computer to do that. And so I was like, Mom, like, please, I need a laptop. I need to be able to take it to school, bring it back home. And we went to Best Buy and I saw the laptop that I wanted. And we like went to go to check out and her credit card declined. And it wasn't like she had any other money. And so we just walked out of the store with nothing in our hands. And it was the first time that I had realized that, like, so it doesn't matter how driven I am. It just matters on how much money I have. And so like months later, my mom saved up and she got me this cheap little $300 computer, little laptop. And that laptop got me to college, and it ended up shutting down, but it got me to really start spending all of my time doing motion graphics. And I had come to the conclusion of like, if I went through that situation, how many kids are going through the same situation, but their mom was never able to go back and get that computer? Like, how many people are just stopped at the door? And it just kind of like helped me realize, like, no wonder, like, we're constantly having these conversations in the space about the lack of diversity, and we're not looking at the bigger issue. And that is that a lot of people just don't get into the field because they don't have access to the tools. Like, we're constantly being told that, like, oh, you could be a firefighter, you could be a police officer, you could be all these basic jobs. But how many jobs are in the digital art field? There's so many. And if it just cuts off a demographic of people to not even allow them to start, and then it's like, okay, so now you've saved up enough money, you're 20 years old, now you could start. But your friend had a laptop since they were 12 and they have a good 8 years on you. And so it's like, it's intimidating because it's like now I have the money, now I have a job, but I got to spend that time doing my job. And for the little bit of time I have left, I could spend it on my computer. And it's daunting, especially when you're seeing all these people like have success at an early age. And it just kind of hit me one day. And but I always thought it was going to be like a later down the line thing that I would do. Like maybe in my 30s, I could start running this nonprofit. But as soon as NFTs popped up and I started making income from that, I was like, oh, like I can do this now. And so
that was like your investment, you know, you got like an investor.
Yeah. And I started working on it. I actually have a meeting with my attorney in like 10 minutes for the nonprofit. But we're now an official entity in the state of California. We are getting our 501c3. And like this year, we have very, very big things coming this year.
That's awesome.
With the nonprofit. So a lot of great stuff.
Nice. So you had to go at 1:30, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Two things I wanted to talk with you before that. First thing, hearing that story about the laptop, I think it was really cool that I saw you when you bought the thing for your mom recently, like for the heater, I think it was, or something. Yeah, I'm sure that must have been like really like surreal and like a cool feeling to be able to like flip the role like that and do something like that.
It was like, I don't know. I'm not even gonna lie. It felt like Molly. Like I felt so euphoric, like being able to give that to her and like her really reaction cool. And like how appreciative she was of it. And like, she's never asked me for money. And like, she's put this in me where it's like, I'm willing to just suffer on my own than like ask like somebody to help me because I don't want to burden them. And like she didn't even think about like, oh, Emonee could help me pay for it. She's not had a heater for the past like year. And so she's just been like carrying her space heater around room to room. And I'm like, it's just not. And so I kind of figured out my finances and I had some money that I could spend on like super stupid shit. It's
awesome.
And I was like, I want to do this for my mom. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's cool. I should have maybe asked this next thing first because that was such a positive note, but I wanted to ask you something, just if you could kind of explain to me what happened in the end with the Rich the Kid stuff, because I've always been curious about that. And I had a lot of people tell me when I was telling them I was going to interview you, they were like, ask her about Rich the Kid. Ask her about Rich the Kid.
Shout out to Rich the Bitch. I mean, Rich the Kid. Sorry. No, I'm kidding. It was honestly, he made himself look stupid. I didn't have to do the work. Like he hired me to do a job and his name is Rich the Kid and he couldn't pay me. Like, it's just insane. And like, I had so many people reach out to me afterwards and tell me that he's done the same thing or he owes them money for this. Like, I got so many messages and I'm like,
crazy.
This guy just thinks that like he could just do this to people and that's not okay. And he ended up like, I remember the video went viral and he had somebody send me $500 and
that's all it was.
He was like, yeah, so it was $1,000 for the cover art, which is so fucking cheap, honestly. Yeah. Like when you're working with a high profile artist like that, like it's a lot of times a lot more money. And so he sent me 500, and then he posted a video and was like, look, I already sent her 500, but he had sent it to me that day. And so he tried to make it seem like he had already sent me some of the money. And I was like, and it is so funny. He like had stacks of money and he's like, I ain't paying you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, bro, you look stupid. Like, you literally, like, the way that you acted made me look so good. Like, if he was like, yo, this is a complete misunderstanding, like, I didn't mean it to be that way, blah, blah, blah. If he would have made it seem like that, I would have taken the videos down. But because he was such an asshole, like, but yeah, it was so funny. Like, I absolutely 100% benefited from that. And I wasn't even expecting to get like a whole bunch of notoriety from it. I expected that the video went viral so this guy felt like an asshole and that he would never do this again. Because if he felt that confident to do it with me, then he would have felt that confident doing it to other people. And I knew I had a little bit of a platform to where I could get the message out to be like, hey, stay wary. This guy's fucking not cool. And the fact that it completely transpired the way that it did, where he shut his Instagram down and he shut his Twitter down, I'm like, good. Like, you don't do this. And
that's why he's so rich, because he doesn't pay anyone.
Exactly. Exactly. I was like, I remember messaging his like manager and they were like, oh no, we dropped him. And I was like, oh my God. Like, literally, this guy is just scum. Like,
what have you done to like person? Just, I guess, to end on a little bit positive of the situation, what have you done to like combat that? Do you just do like more strict contracts now and stuff like that? Or so
that was the first and only time that has ever happened to me. I've never had that happen to me. And in the industry, in the music industry specifically, with everyone being like, we need this now, there's not, usually contracts are given when you're done with the project. But I think what I could have done differently was read the red flags, because I knew there were red flags. Like, I knew there was things in there that I was like, and I was like, this is not cool. But I think just with the experience of talking with shitty people, I now can spot out a shitty person, like, we need an agreement for this. But that's the thing. If I would have had a signed agreement, I would have had to take him to court. I would have had to spend the time. I would have had to spend the money. And it's just like, so I do agreements for projects that are like over like $10,000.
Right. Cool. Well, I'm glad that hasn't happened again, and thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. It was nice to meet you and nice to talk to you.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's been awesome. I'm glad we were able to finally connect. I've just been so busy, and I just am glad that I could take this time to just talk and be chill and hang out.
Awesome. Well, go check out Emonee's work. Everywhere, Instagram, Twitter, NFTs, and all that. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.
Bye.